This week in Warcraft, PvE hunters rejoice as they see buffs on the PTR, while at the same time Destruction Warlock damage is low and Blizzard is looking for Destruction combat logs. A Brewmaster monk solos 10-man heroic Stone Guard, now joining Death Knights and Rogues in soloing stuff that shouldn't be soloed. Battlefield Barons will be removed in 5.4, leaving just a few items to become rare drops. And the Hearthstone beta for Europe can still be a few weeks away. Rumors were floating around that they would start it on the day of patch 5.4, but surely they wouldn't screw us Europeans over that badly. I'm your host Mezzy, and welcome to WoW Weekly. So, welcome again, second episode.
Right.
Welcome to Milne.
Hello.
LJ.
Hello there.
And today we're joined by Morten, aka Imagadin. Hey.
Good evening.
Why won't you tell a bit about yourself?
I'm Morten. I raided on a paladin, front paladin, which is quite funny. And I've been a raider since TBC, and I just enjoy World of Warcraft quite a lot and try to take it quite seriously. And I don't know what to say, just that I have a lot of fun in World of Warcraft, and it takes a lot of my time.
Well, that's all that needs to be said, really.
Sure
So, yeah. Episode 2. We survived the first one.
Barely.
Barely, yeah. Let's start off right away with the few news points of this week. We'll start off with 2 points still from the interviews from last week. One is from the Gamescom interviews, in which they've said that the team size for the World of Warcraft team has increased with 40%, and they plan on increasing it with another 40%. So they're hoping with such an increase, so they'll have nearly double the team, it will allow them to make a new content patch every month, a new raid tier every 3 to 5 months, and have an annual expansion. Now that seems a bit quick. How are you going to have just, 2 raid tiers per expansion and get them done so quickly? How do you feel about this, Emil?
I like the idea because we, as raiders especially, we have come to feel that the content is not really evolving or coming as often as Blizzard always attempted to have it done. So maybe that it can be, again, this could also potentially be one of the things that Blizzard does to increase maybe the competitiveness feeling within the game, and where everyone basically, because of the content that is coming so quickly, everyone just feels they are in a rush to get everything done as quickly as they can. So at least I like to believe that's the case. I'd like to believe that is what will happen. But I do like the idea of having more content within the shorter time frame.
Sure, more content more quickly is great, of course. A content patch every month would be great. But wouldn't it really put some pressure on a guild to get a new raid tier done in just 3 months' time? Of course, it could mean that the raid tiers will be smaller. But what do you think, Imagadin?
I think 3 to 4 months is a good time for raids here. But actually, I think it's a really good idea because there's a lot of, for casuals and so on, there's a lot of content that needs to be tried out. Get people into the game more. So I actually think it's a really good idea that they try and get some story going on in the game, compared to, for example, just having to wait half a year when nothing happens. I'd really dread for the game another ICC where the last patch just went on and on and on before Kata finally was released.
Well, yeah, but ICC was a pretty extreme case. Dragon Soul lasted longer as well, but personally, I think having the last tier last a bit longer isn't that bad, so you have a chance to relax a bit before you have to do everything all over again. Level up, do your professions, do all the achievements, etc., etc. LJ?
Yeah, let's first talk. Let's go back to of course they're increasing the team, but that doesn't also say that the content is going to be bigger and better. People tend to think that, but I would say wait for it first and see what happens. But I am I lean toward the positive side, and that's because like what Magadan's saying that just like now people may not have cleared all of Throne of Thunder, but it has been out for how long now? Anybody can?
Since March, I think.
Since March, so that's
we're at 6 months. Yeah.
since 6 months now, and I mean, I don't know about you guys, but being in a very awesome raid here, I must admit, it does get boring after a while. So I would say what they are planning is a very good step forward, but let's see how good that step is going to be taken.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm also getting sick of Throne of Thunder, but we haven't cleared everything yet, but that's because we founded the guild halfway through the tier. So we've had a bit less time to get through all the heroic stuff. So in this case, I don't mind as much, but had the guild have started from the start of Throne of Thunder, obviously it would have sucked if we hadn't cleared all the heroic modes by then. That would of course be on us, not being good enough to do so. And 6 months time is pretty long to get all that done. But having that reduced to 3 months, which was our case, if the new raids would have 12 bosses, normal and heroic, then that would be pushing it, at least that's what I think.
Well, just to comment on what has been said by Magadan and LJ. Again, the idea of having more content within a shorter time frame, it's probably what most of us have been wanting since a long time, and Blizzard in many ways has promised that. One point raised by LJ, which it's a fair comment to say that, well, let's see first, maybe increasing the head count for the programmers and development team doesn't necessarily mean that whatever comes out will be 100%, or we will be very, very good. Although I do trust Blizzard on that side. I do trust Blizzard on the fact that when they do have stuff coming out, they make sure that it's as good as it can be. It may have some issues, maybe some technical issues, some patching issues, but I am not too concerned on that factor. What I'm more concerned about is, will this be the stepping stone of something more frequent from now on? And maybe even will this be like a test for when a Titan is released? So I would like to think that whatever is happening new within World of Warcraft world, maybe even something they want to try out internally as well for the developers and the way they do the creating of the game, maybe for something, towards the future, perhaps even Titan.
Yeah, that would be cool. And it is probable that because Titan has been delayed, that has caused them to increase the WoW team. So it will at least keep more people interested, because as we talked about last week, the subscriber numbers have been going down.
Yes, exactly. I think the point is they need to release a lot of content. Not just raid. We gotta realize that raiding is just part of the content. Not everyone raids and so on. So it would be good if we, for example, Battlefield Barons is some story everyone can get involved in. So it's very important they keep the game fresh and new stuff for everyone to play. So I think that every month a new content patch is actually quite what they should aim for. Something new to do every month. That, in my opinion, sounds like a right direction for the game. And raids, 5 to 6 months is, in my opinion, a good time to clear the raids.
Yeah, I agree. I hope, like what Milne said, that it is for future projects, that they can see what they can do and what they can get out of their full potential. And I agree with Magadan that it's we have to see that we have more content in the future. I'm still quite wary about how that content is going to be, because, of course, at the beginning, I expect in the beginning it's going to be better than maybe towards the end, though maybe it even will improve. You never know, but I think it's a very good thing, and I think probably only good things can come out of it. So it will take maybe a while before they actually do make it the best thing they can do.
Yeah, indeed. It's always something we just have to wait and see with Blizzard whenever they try something new. So moving on, in an interview also from Gamescom done by Vanian, is a German site, Blizzard said that the technology for scaling up old content is mostly in place now, but the developers haven't come up with a good reward scheme for scaled up old dungeons and raids yet. So today players can go back and solo old content for transmog gear, but if they were going to go back and do it in an appropriately sized group, like a 10-man group for Karazhan, for example, that would be amazing, by the way, they would expect something useful other than just transmog gear. Now, personally for me, I'd love that feature. I'd love to go back to Karazhan, for example. It has great memories there for me. To go there in a full 10-man group and do it as if I was doing it again in the Burning Crusade. How do you guys feel about this type of content? Would you like to see this return? Does it have a long-lasting future if it does come? LJ, let's start with you for once.
Sure. I certainly do think it gives a certain which you have in single player games, such a certain replay value. Especially like what you said for Karazhan, that was personally my first raiding instance. So if they make that up to date, to put it like that, make it for players for now, that would be quite awesome. I really do like the older instances, especially Burning Crusade instances, to come back and have an actual place again in the world of Warcraft that it is now. So this is really something that I'm probably going to enjoy a lot.
Before we go on to the next one, I just wanted to add, because I just thought that this would be absolutely perfect for having new content every patch. Releasing sets of old raids for people to experience them again, or for a lot of people who didn't raid Classic, Burning Crusade, to have new raids to do, which I don't know how hard they could be, but it could be a lot of fun if they, for example, rewarded a transmog set like the challenge modes do now. What are your thoughts on this, Magadan?
I'm not a very nostalgic person, so I think it's kind of wasted because rating, character development, and so on. I like to see the story going in one direction. I don't like it going back, killing old content again, other than for transmog. So for me, it's just wasted. I do not see myself going back, particularly because talents, players, everything has evolved. So if you go back, it will just be easy.
Well, that doesn't have to be. If they do the tuning right so that it's hard, then it could be a fun challenge to do.
I think that if you look at a tot rate, the number of boss mechanics and the skill required from the individual player is a lot higher than it was, for example, in Burning Crusade. So I don't know. I just don't see the boss mechanics in these old raids to be strong enough for the modern raider.
Well, that is a good point. What do you think, Milne? Do you think it would be too easy even if the numbers were tuned to a harder difficulty?
Indeed, this is a very difficult question to answer because, well, there is the conflict about going back to what has already been a very, very fond expansion, and should we be focusing on going forward, like Imagadin says? I am very torn. It's very difficult because, for me in particular, I do like the fact that old instances or vanilla WoW, but the Burning Crusade, is that they're all part of a past that helped WoW build what it is today. And I do like the factor that some things cannot be obtained anymore. I do like the fact that, that one of the special things about WoW is the fact that what happened in the past, for instance, and I never got to experience it, was the amazing quest line for the Gates of Ankiraj, and the world event of getting the gates open, and then you obviously you go to the instance and so on and so forth. I think that is an amazing thing. I never got to experience that, but I think that still, even though I haven't experienced it, I do remember maybe participating in some of the stages with other people around the world in that area. I had no idea what I was doing because I was really new to the game. I like the fact that it was unique, it was awesome, and only a few people got to experience it. If we had to readjust everything nowadays for the new generation of players who are coming to WoW, I think that maybe it can be, it would feel to me taking off some of the value that it represents, some of the value that once existed for the hardcore raiders at that time, to make it so the new players can also experience it. I think I'm more inclined to let it stay in the past and have fond memories of what existed, and concentrate on improving and getting people to at least follow the lore a bit more, because the WoW lore, it's amazing, it's huge, and there's a lot of things that can still be said, and the story can be evolved, it can be turned sideways, upways, downwards, it can go in many directions that that Blizzard may see fit. So I am 49%, yeah, because, for instance, let's take Karazhan as an example. I loved Karazhan as well. I didn't get to experience at the time where the hunt for the first boss, the achievements were still available. I got a little bit late on that, but I do like Karazhan and all those instances that we raided a long time ago in the previous expansions. I do love them. They were great mechanics, great logic. The fun that we had with guilds back then, but maybe they were fun and they were good because Blizzard put a lot of effort into them. So I think that maybe the best thing that we could do is allow Blizzard to also focus more on future content and making everything from now on as good as they did in the past. That's what I think would be best, actually.
Okay, but shouldn't we give those new players a chance to face Prince Malchezaar and the legions he commands? Huh?
I'm going to be a very bad and mean person here, and I say, well, no. I mean, it's like one of those things. I mean, you can't always make everyone happy, but you can make some of the happy people unhappy by taking away that sensation of uniqueness. That what if they brought back again the one of the early titles like the Scarab Lord? I think that would be a slap in the face for those people who did raid at the time. They made the effort of creating 40-man raids, getting the guilds together, and no, why create a situation where we just mess things up or make people unhappy. I mean,
Well, sure, for stuff like Scarab Lord and Champion of the Naru and Hand of Adal, stuff like that, they wouldn't bring that back. That would be a crime if they would suddenly not make that exclusive anymore to the people who got those rewards at the appropriate time. But surely people could still experience the new content and then get other rewards for it, where there to be gear for alts or titles or whatever. That doesn't take anything away from the players who've gotten the special rewards in the past. As long as those special rewards stay special and cannot be obtained anymore, surely they would be okay.
Well, I mean, maybe this is me just trying to be overzealous of the things that I like the way they are, especially considering I have very fond memories of that time. And yeah, obviously, if Blizzard came out and just gave that content to us, I'm sure, of course, I would rate it. I would love it if they did. Probably, but if it were my decision, I would be tempted to just go forward and not really revamp the past content.
I absolutely agree with Milne. I like my story keep going forward, and I think a lot of WoW players are nostalgic. Not necessarily that the earlier times was better, but I think it was. They just remember a lot of good stuff that happened in the past and wants to relive it. But the game goes on and it often becomes better. But you still remember old values. But it's the same as saying vanilla was the hardest expansion. No, it was. For me, it wasn't hard. It was just a lot of annoying stuff, a lot of life quality features that they don't have. That we have now. So it's just for me going back, no way. I think it's wasted technology.
But the thing is, they've already done it with the heroics. They've, for the past two patches, expansions, they've brought back different heroics, which of course aren't raids, but they are still, and they've revamped them. But which I would expect Blizzard to probably do with the old raids as well, to revamp them, or probably not make them the way they are at the moment. I don't know how you guys probably think the same about that at the moment, but I'm just, of course, people are nostalgic about World of Warcraft. So I am as well. I agree and I admit that, but why wouldn't you let other people also, from a business point of view, why wouldn't you let other people also enjoy that moment? Because you have to see that a lot of new players are also playing with old players. So especially I like to talk about my times in Karazhan, so other people will, when new players hear that, they will also want to do that. From a business point of view, it is, I think, a good opportunity also for maybe, to put in a bad way, a cheap way to revamp old content and make that attractive to the younger people. I agree that you shouldn't give like the Scarab Lord or something as epic as that to new people, because they do not deserve it, because it still is a old content taken out of time. But saying that they don't deserve to play Karazhan in the old state, I think that's going a bit too far.
I think that one of the things that I fear when thinking again of possible current content, old content revamp, is that, for instance, let's take, help me here, the raid instance that was revamped, and it's at
Zulaman.
Zulaman, thank you.
Yeah.
And the Zul, the other one, in
Guru?
Zul Guru, there you go. Yeah. I still remember very faintly. I still remember how the mechanics and how the bosses reacted back then, and to see everything being readjusted, like the mob packs placed here instead of there, on the left side instead of the right hand side, and like new mechanics and stuff. It does feel funny to me. It does feel like, yeah, I still remember the mechanics, how all the mechanics were at the beginning, or how it was initially. And I don't know. I have very mixed feelings towards that. I don't know. And again, I said that if Blizzard did just, brain get about, then just brought it up.
Okay, well,
and released
here's
it.
my take on that. For Zulaman especially, I actually agree with you on that. I was annoyed when it went to a 5-man dungeon. Other than that, everything's the same of Zulaman. The same mechanics, bosses might be named differently, but the mobs are in the same places, the same trash, etc., etc. But what really annoyed me was that it went from a full raid to a 5-man dungeon group. And that just really, I don't know how do you say, it's a kind of minimalized Zulaman. It wasn't the same Zulaman as it was in the Burning Crusade. It wasn't a full-on raid. You could, kind of walk over everything at that point, because that was the point where they nerfed all the Cataclysm heroics. So, they just went all wrong with the two Zuls. It was too easy, and it went from a raid to a 5-man group. But what we're talking about is a raid staying a raid, being scaled up to current gear, basically, and hopefully being difficult for that gear level. That's something completely different from the two Zuls. Or am I completely wrong here?
To be honest, you're not. But I also agree with that they shouldn't have made it a 5-man. I also disagree with that they should not have even given a mount for the time chest, maybe some more loot, but another mount seemed a bit no, to be honest. Put it like that.
Made the other one less special, just a recolor.
Yeah, it was a real color, but it's still basically the same model, only with different colors. It made the old one feel less special.
Yeah.
Even though the original color was probably somewhat that's recognized more with older games, put it like that, older gamers than newer. The way they did that, I don't agree with what they did. I see what they were trying, and I see that they did not a bad job of it, but there were still a lot of points that could have been, been better. That they could have done better.
Yeah, I will say, however, though, for agreeing with Milne and Imagadin, if anyone from Blizzard is listening, lower Karazhan. I'm fine with that too, guys. Do lower Karazhan instead. The atmosphere, the design, etc. of Karazhan was amazing. You don't see that. I don't get the same type of feeling. I'm in this giant place now. Raids these days just feel like corridors, and boss rooms feel like circles, squares, whatever. You don't get the same vibe from them. If you can bring that back, great. New content. But I think allowing people to experience the older raids who do have a certain atmosphere, I think it would be a shame if we don't let them, if the technology is here to do that.
Well, I guess we just have to wait and see what they decide to do.
Exactly. Before we move on, is there anything else any of you would like to say extra?
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. I think that's why most people are so nostalgic about Burning Crusade, was that a lot of the raids felt so epic. Boss mechanics and raids and so on have evolved. They are a lot better now. The graphics in the background, the epic feeling, just isn't there now, in my opinion at least.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
I certainly. True. You can just notice that we're all gamers of the World of Warcrafters of the old age, but I totally feel you there.
Yeah, I'm glad we all agree. We can agree on something. Yay! So, moving on. Exactly. So, speculation time. Recently on the First, on 4chan, someone posted a possible WoW expansion leak for the next expansion. Now, obviously, this needs to be taken with a bucket of salt, because it can obviously be a fake, but after going through a lot of the comments, etc., it seems that this user has been 90% correct about the leaks since the Burning Crusade. So, it's quite possible that we will actually see this at BlizzCon. So let's go over some of the details first. It would be called World of Warcraft The Dark Below. We'd level from level 90 to 100, which could be. And the primary antagonists would be Ashara and her Naga, N'Zoth and the Faceless Ones, and the Kavaldir clashing with the Zandalari. Now, the last one particularly surprised me, because the Kavaldir were just a thing from Wrath of Lich King, I think it was, and we didn't really see them ever again. There would be no new character models at launch, as they, so to speak, are making sub-races for each race, which require more animation time. Now, that again would be awesome. Of course, this leak could be fake, so we'll have to see. The locations would be split between underwater, underground, and island-based type zones, and there would be, excuse me, there would be no new level of flying. Instead, we would get climbing arachnid mounts for underground type zones, and some new aquatic mounts, including a ship that would take us to, I guess, wherever we need to go, the islands, I suppose. The starting zones would be, let's see, Azjol Nerub, the New Kingdom, which would be a place where the surviving Nerubians that weren't cursed to undeath by Arthas, the Lich King, would have made. That would be pretty cool to see. And cool Tiras, which would be also amazing to see. Jaina would then have relocated Dalaran to her island nation, where her brother is now located. So, all in all, pretty good stuff. Would be amazing if they did it. It would suck if this is a fake. How do you guys feel about this, Mil?
I mean, I don't tend to go really too hype on leaks. Because it's a double-edged sword, so I don't want to speculate too much. Of course, but it's just
speculation.
I know, but really thinking of all these changes, when I read these changes, I do like when lore characters get more involved, or at least we get a sense of them being more involved with everything that we as players get to do within the game. That we can shape the story, we can shape the course of how the story evolves and stuff. I do like that. But we're just talking about, or we are speculating about, major changes to the game that really frightens me in a way, because, yeah, changes are good, but so much, like radical changes, I get a little bit scared. I seriously do.
Isn't that what an expansion is for, though? Radical change, new things?
Well, radical changes can be something new to improve, maybe, like class mostly, or even some gears and stuff. But new expansion to really give like a complete 180-degree twist to everything that we know. It's pushing a little bit for me.
Okay, sure. LJ, what do you think about this? Would this be cool?
Some things yes, some things no, of course. I mean, it's like Milne says, let's all hold our horses here and not just bet on this one horse and see what comes up. Though, like you said, he was right the previous times. Some things are really cool, like you said about the mounts and about purely Ashura and her Naga. I've always been not that big of a lore nut, but I just like that we're going against her, and now N'Zoth also is resurfacing. All in all, I don't know. It's just let's wait it out. Let's see when things get confirmed by Blizzard, because these things may be right at the moment that he found them, or they were leaked, or whatever. But many things can change in the meanwhile. Like we know with Blizzard, if something doesn't fit their picture, or they can't make it happen, they get rid of it very easily often. So it's just let's wait till things will get confirmed, and then take it from there.
All right. And the Magadan, do you feel the same way as these two do?
Well, at the moment, I feel there's two places that the next expansion can go. We got the Burning Legion, which Rathion is talking about, or we can go below, because the End South has had its filthy tentacles involved in pretty much everything. So it is definitely a possibility that the Dark Below is the next expansion. There's some hints pointing towards it, lore-wise. But is it a good idea? I think Blizzard wants to go away from the panda cuteness in the next expansion. So it might be an idea. I do like going against Insoth. He's one of my favorite old gods. So I'm kind of hoping it's true.
In a way, I agree here with both LJ and Magadan. I think that maybe the Pandaria or this expansion was, I think it was the perfect window to capture new gamers, okay? Because it's like, okay, guys, we now have an MMO RPG which is like about pandas, okay? And you know, to some new players, actually, that was quite interesting and fun idea to have, you know, spread around. So yeah, but the lore of WoW is about dreadlords or kingdoms being taken or going underground or going, you know, this is the hell being unleashed on the world of Azeroth. So yeah, come on, let's get serious and get some of the gore, you know, some of the more gory stuff happening.
Yeah, and with Burning Legion, or Ashara and N'Zoth, both would provide that. So either way, that would be pretty amazing. One hint in the dialogue of the patch 5.4 Legendary Quest, though, is that Rathion says that perhaps the Alliance and Horde need more time before they're able to face the Burning Legion. So that does give a hint, at least in-game, that we possibly won't be facing the Burning Legion first before another expansion. Because the Burning Legion was hinted, after all, first by Rathion. He is kind of the main source of the hope and speculation that we're going to have a Burning Legion expansion next. Now there's one more feature I'd like to talk about in that leak, in this speculation, and that's possibly then a new system, or rather an old system called Path of Titans, one that was scrapped in Wrath of the Lich King, so possibly brought back in a new form. It would be an account-wide progression system where all characters on one account earn Titanic experience. That increases progression for all characters on the account in the new system. Now that would share perks such as Mounted level 10, plus 10% honor in Battlegrounds, and it allows players to enjoy the game on any character without feeling like they're being hindered too much by changing character, at least for the Path of Titans. Now this is strikingly similar to the legacy system in Star Wars The Old Republic. Now, Blizzard has been known to take stuff out of other games and improve them for World of Warcraft. How do you guys feel about this?
But I want to hear what Magadan has to say first, as my ex-guild leader. Oh, my current guild leader. Jesus.
Well, I do like the idea of Path of Titans, well, the legacy system in Star Wars. I think it's actually quite brilliant in that no matter what character you're on, you can evolve. I really do like that. I was thinking kind of like a guild perk system just for you on yourself. leveling all your characters and getting new stuff. I do like that idea.
Okay. Milne, your own thoughts then?
Yeah, I absolutely. It's one of the things that I respect Star Wars: The Republic for is the fact that they have taken some of the gaming concepts and they have taken into consideration the fact that when players like a game, they will want to experience it as much as they can. And one of the ways that can happen is for a player to create multiple classes and try out different things about the game. So, and the fact that, okay, maybe for a lucky reason you get to play more. Okay, for instance, when I rolled my first character in the game, I rolled a healer because I just wanted to be involved in the game from day one. And a healer, obviously, every raid or every group needs a healer. But that meant that all the better stuff, all the very good stuff that I had on that character just remained with that character until the subsequent patches and the expansions came around. And I get to share some of the reputation amongst all the characters. And that was brilliant. That's great. And it allows me to continue having fun, not feeling the restriction. And again, you all know how I feel about restriction. The restriction of having everything concentrated on one character, and I don't have that, and I don't get to, enjoy, for instance, a very cool mount on every other character that I have. So I think that, if they do this, it will be an extremely positive thing for Blizzard and for WoW.
Okay. LJ, do you think it's not just copy-paste from Star Wars?
I'd have to see it first. Of course, it on first hand, it might feel like that. But I think that World of Warcraft is in such a way that much more different than Star Wars. I've played both games, just so people out there know. I've played Star Wars quite a lot. I had a maxed out character at least, but yeah, I really liked what Imagine said. I really like the legacy system there. It is really a good thing. I hope they implement it in WoW the way, maybe not exactly like they did it with Star Wars, because they wanted to implement it right off the start there. So, of course, that's not the case with World of Warcraft, but I hope they just implement it in such a way that everybody can enjoy it in their own way, not from casuals to core players, and it's not just about 5% of honor or 10%, as you said, or stuff like that. But maybe if you do certain things, that it also will actually give you certain rewards that are really worth it. But we'll just have to see what it will bring. But I'm glad they re-announced it at least. They said it back in, I think, Wrath of the Lich King.
Let's make it clear. It's from a leak. It's not an announcement.
Yeah, it's not an announcement. Sorry, but they mentioned Path of the Titans before. I mean that was in.
That was Wrath. Yeah,
that was Wrath. So it's not the first time that it's came up, but I really hope they implement it this time.
Yeah. So for everyone, for listeners as well, this is still from that leak. Take it with a whole bucket of salt, or a truckload of salt if you have to. We're just speculating at this point, but it would certainly be cool and nice if you could already get a character on a mount at level 10. Although my lowest character is level 60, so I wouldn't be able to use that. Damn it. Yeah, anyway, before we go to the break, does anyone want to say anything else about this subject or the others that we have discussed?
I just wanted to ask, I'm just a little bit concerned of the level cap because, I think something should be done because I don't like the idea of actually going, up all the way up to 100. And then when we reach 100 and the next expansion comes around, what's happening there? Are we going to 110? No.
Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? As long as the content, or rather the time span it takes from level 90 to 100, as it would be if it was from 90 to 95, it really doesn't matter. Level 100 is just a number. For me, it's about the amount of time it takes to get to the number.
Yeah, there's one thing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
You go ahead, Milne, if you were talking about it.
No. That's exactly my point. The idea is, what's happening with the time that it would take for us to get to 100, if it came to that, or to 110 or whatever. I think that maybe there could be a bit more of intelligent ways to, go about the level cap.
Well, actually, before we go on to LJ, I disagree with you, because level 85 to 90 felt just so freaking long. I remember doing it in one session to get to 90, and especially 89 to 90 took ages. At least it felt like it. It was only a couple of hours, I think, 4 perhaps. But if instead the same time span was 85 to 95, then it would feel a lot better, Oh, I already gained another level, when really you would have otherwise gained half a level. I don't think that has to be so bad. So, LJ, you go first?
No, I was thinking about it as well. When I saw the level cap of 100, one of the first things that popped into my mind was, of course, a while back. I mean, I'm talking years here. There was even rumor, speculation about a second World of Warcraft, which then later came out to be Project Titan. But being that as it may, I've seen in a statement before, the engine is pretty old. Of course, they keep updating it, but in the core, it's still pretty old. The game itself is almost 10 years. I'm not saying they should scrap it or something, but maybe it's time to look to a actual sequel instead of a expansion. And maybe level 100 is a good time to look at that.
Good thing that you mentioned that. I need to correct something from last week. We're nearly at year 9, not near year 10. Sorry, it's my bad. I have been playing from Classic. It just feels like 10 years. It's really 9.
Just say you played the beta, then you have almost 10 years.
I sadly did not play the beta, no.
No, me neither, but yeah.
But yeah, as far as the engine goes, I think the engine is fine. They update it every expansion bit, for example, the water, etc. The thing about WoW is, with the cartoony look, it has its own charm, and I like that charm, and it's partly why I play WoW and not Star Wars. I've been casually playing that again now, but with those graphics, it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel as fun as World of Warcraft does to me. It has a certain charm, and I like it. So yeah, Milne and Magadin, before we go to the break, anything else?
No, I'm good.
I'm good too.
Okay then. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. This show is sponsored by the Gnomeregan Support Group.
Have you been feeling down, looking green, irregularly aggressive? Then you might be affected by leftover radiation. Contact us today to come into contact with fellow victims in our Gnomeregan Support Group.
Hi, I'm Tinkerer Castpipe. I felt really bad for wanting to kill level 25 adventurers, but after a few sessions with the Gnomeregan Support Group, I knew it was alright to just let myself go.
Call 1-800-RADIATION now. Effectiveness may vary per gnome.
And welcome back to WoW Weekly. For those of you who listened to our podcast last week, yes, it is the same commercial. Our voice actor person thing wasn't available this week. Hopefully next week we'll have a new one for you to enjoy. Until then, those poor gnomes having to attack adventurers, really. So moving on, blah blah blah. The discussion point this week is going to be about the talent system. Now, we've had the talent system in a few different forms, some more similar than the others, but the Mist of Pandaria one got a brand new talent system, and so basically the question this week is, was the new Mist of Pandaria talent system, where you get one talent every 15 levels, better? Does it still feel rewarding enough when you level up every level, when you don't get that particular reward? So Imagadin, let's have you start off. What do you think?
I can say, was it better? Yes. It is a lot better. Most of the talent systems in the old, I mean, plus 1% crit to something, that was so boring. Now at least the talent system is usable, and you change them a lot, and you change them on a whim. I really think it was a really, really good idea. They changed it. Now every talent you take has an impact on how you play your character. I really think it was one of the best things they've done in a long time.
Yeah,
Okay.
Totally agree there. I have to say that I was surprised. I was very skeptical before the talent system was implemented and I got to play with it. I was like, okay, maybe this is too similar to other types of MMOs, how they're going about the talent system. But I was really surprised how much of how versatile it allowed the game to become quickly and to be with my character. I would have these 3 different kind of play styles that that we had at that time. So yeah, it was very, very interesting. I really liked that. I really did.
Okay, and LJ?
I totally agree with the other guys. With one side note though, the only thing that I'm missing now, especially when leveling, is like when you were leveling, it wasn't much, but you had the talent point that you could use. I mean, that's what really kept me going often with leveling. But for the rest, especially with endgame and such, the talent system nowadays is way better just to actually have something tangible and have something that you can use for your character. It really is a big upgrade, a big step up from the old system.
Okay, that's interesting, because I agree with you guys on the fact that this talent system is better. You get to change your abilities, or rather your talents, quickly in each tier, and are able to use them per boss fight. However, it has left a very big hole, and that's the reward you get every level, or I think in Cataclysm it was every 2 levels. So I think that there's something left to be said there. Now, I'd propose, actually, again, a new system where we keep the old one, but we sort of add the earlier talent system back in as well. So we could have major and minor talents. The major talents being as they are now, and the minor talents as the talent system from the, let's say, Wrath. So every level you get a point, and you spend it for, it doesn't have to be a whole % of crit, because after 5, that is 5% crit more, but maybe 0.5%. Do give the player something to make them feel like, yes, I gained a bit stronger. Because leveling is a drag, and it doesn't matter if we're going to go to level 95 or 100 next expansion, you're still going to have to level from level 1 to 95 or 100. Even with heirlooms, that's a pain in the ass. Excuse my French. So, I do think they need to fill up that hole next expansion.
Well, I mean, again, one of the solutions can be, well, let's change the way in which players are leveling up. That could be one idea. But the talent systems the way they are now, I like them because it gave us a new perspective how your character should be and how a character should play. The old talent system was in such a way that people and theory characters will eventually pick or decide or analyze and do the math on which build is the best. And one of the great things about this new talent build is the fact that it allows you, despite the mathematics behind it, allows you to be free and really choose a game style instead of pick and choose the best talents for you to be the highest DPS or the best tank or the best healer. So I think that the talent system, the way it has been implemented and the way it has been devised. It's perfect, and it was the just. It was the correct approach. It was the correct time to bring something different to the game.
I absolutely agree with Mo. It was about time that they sorted up really bloated the old talent system. Those 1% crit, 2% crit, 3%, up to 5%, and then eventually every 10th level you get the ability you are after. So I actually think this way for leveling, there's more for me to look after, more for me to be happy about getting, because getting a new talent now means something. It didn't back then, even though you got it more often. For me, there's always been kind of milestones I wanted on my paladin, avenging wrath or stuff like this, and I feel like we get those milestones more often now, instead of just a talent that you can't use.
So you guys
I
wouldn't feel
agree.
for a system like the one I just described, where we use this one we have currently, but fill in the gaps where it fell short.
Not trying to be mean or anything, but I was trying to understand what you're saying, try to vision and picture it and how it would work. It just sounds way too complicated. I think that either one or the other, but not like a hybrid type of style. But again, I would rather have what we have nowadays, because it does affect to some point the way you play the game. It doesn't affect so much whether or not you do get you make the highest DPS out of the other classes that are available, or you be the best tank, or so on and so forth. It adds play style or a diversity in playing, not the best what your talents of your class can do compared to others, and that's what I think it was a bit. Because even for them, it's tough to rebalance everything, patch in, patch out, and with the new expansions. That it must have been a pretty tough times for them to handle. So I think that the system also helps them concentrate on some other aspects of the game, which again do seem to be more important.
Okay, LJ, you wanted to say something?
No, I just basically wanted to agree. I have nothing further more to add. I think everything's been said already. Basically agree how especially how Megadon says it with like the 1, 2, 3 crit thing. Yeah, it is outdated and it's old. And just how you do it nowadays with the buffs and the spells you can get, it's so much more fun. Basically, that's what it's still a game. And for me, it's about more fun. And if they give me more buttons to click that do more damage and are shiny, it's more fun. So just from that point of view, simplicity, it's a better system.
All right, fair enough. Not much of a discussion then. Yeah. Do you guys have anything else to say before we wrap this up?
I do miss one thing from the old talent system, and that is the semi-specs, where you went half into, for example, Retribution, half into Holy, and you could kind of like get something new. But I suppose that's in the new talent systems as well, in that you pick and choose. For example, a Feral would, okay, I'm gonna take a bit less DPS, but get a really, really strong trank for when the raid needs it. I suppose it's in there, but I do miss the hybrid class specs.
Okay. Yeah, that's it really, isn't it? So, I'd like to thank Imagadin, first of all, for joining us this week.
No problem.
And, of course, LJ and Milne, thank you to you both.
Yeah, pleasure to be here again.
Same here. I always like joining you, so it was fun being here again.
Okay then. Thanks to the listener for listening again. If this is the first time, thanks for joining us. Please comment and subscribe let us know in the comments section what you think of the podcast, how you think it could be improved, what you like about it, of course. Always nice to hear. Now, if you don't have an account for YouTube, but you would like to keep up to date when a new podcast has been released, you can now follow me on Twitter. I've reactivated it again, and you'll be able to follow me at bbmezzy, just like this YouTube account. And I'll post on Twitter as well when a new episode, new podcast has been released. But for now, I'm Mezzy. Thanks for listening, and until next time.
Yeah, thanks a bunch. Bye.
Cheers.
See you next time.